Okay, so what we're going to do right now is go and see how you're supposed to solve the problems for tonight's homework. Let's look at the sheet that homework stuff is on. And there we go. Okay, good. And on this sheet, does everybody have this? No. Anybody does not have this? You may come up and get a copy of it right now, because I would like you to have it. Okay, now that you have a copy of this, we're going to actually do some of these problems on the smartboard, and you'll have a chance to see in these examples. I didn't actually show the full solution. I gave you the problem, which is going to be in this section here, and I gave you these guys to help you get going, and you'll understand what I mean by that in just a minute. So you need to first of all understand, how did I get this number? And for that, hopefully you all have textbooks by now. If not, you have to use the online textbook. But let's go to page 919, I believe it is, or 916. That's actually called Appendix C in the textbook. And here we go. I have this zoomed in a little bit because you don't need to see the full chart, but I'm looking for page 914. Everybody there? You'll need to turn it so you can read it without getting a sore neck. All right, we're all there. So if you look here in this column, you have the elements. In this column over here, you have the densities. And so as you go down the densities, you'll find out that sulfur is not there. You'll have to flip a page and go to page 916. And on page 916, you'll find sulfur right here. And I recommend that you use a straight edge or a piece of paper or something, so that you can come across and be on the right line when you get to that column. And you can see here the number for sulfur is 2.08, and the unit of measure is grams per cubic centimeter. Everybody okay? We're page 916 right now. 916. Yeah, I thought you were on the wrong end of the book there. So, where did that show up in our little sheet? That showed up right here. Okay? There's your 2.08. And that's where it came from. So, once you know that, now you can go through and you can find all of the numbers for this whole column here. Okay? So, we're going to continue from there. After we have that information, and you'll notice that we changed it into an equality. The 2.08 grams of sulfur is equal to 1 cubic centimeter of sulfur. And now we start solving the problem. So I'm going to put this stuff on the smartboard, and let's see here. Yeah, there we go. And so we are working example. This is the identification of the problem. You always need to identify your problems. Example A. So we have a given, and we're going to have a find, just like before, the other things we were working on. And we're going to have a little sidebar over here, which is going to be the density written as an equality, which is what we had right here. Okay, that's why I had you do this, because I want you to have that for your sidebars. And as we go back here, I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. 2.08 grams is equal to 1 centimeter cubed and this is sulfur. And S is the atomic symbol for sulfur. So now we're ready for the given. Who thinks they can tell me what the given is in this problem? Nobody can see it? Come on, let's look at the problem. We're right here. What's the given? 13 cubic centimeters. That is exactly what the given is. Okay, 13 cubic centimeters. Oops, let's make that a little better. Centimeters cubed. And what are we supposed to find? What? Okay, the mass in grams. So how many grams of sulfur? This is also sulfur. How many grams of sulfur does that represent? Now, from what we did just a few moments ago, how do I start my calculation? Anyone? Okay. How about Sonia? What do you think? How did we start the other two problems? Yeah, we make a fraction out of what? Yeah, good. The given over 1. Excellent, Sonia. So we have 13 centimeters cubed. Now, this time, we have an element that we're dealing with, so we need to put that in there. I hope you're all writing this down, because this is the model of how to do your homework. Okay, and what is going to go under here? I'm going to, here, let's put a green line here so we separate these guys. I don't want you confusing them. Okay, what do we have on the bottom of the next fraction? What do you think, David? What? Okay, before you put the grams, watch this. What goes on the bottom? Okay, centimeters cubed. Excellent. Centimeter cubed of sulfur. Now, what I'd like you to do, David, is look over here in my sidebar box and tell me what is the coefficient that goes with cubic centimeters. Now do you see why that's so important? You got to get the right guy on the bottom. If you get the right guy on the bottom, you got it made. Okay? If you get the wrong guy, if you started with the 2.08, you'd be all messed up. And you'd have the inverse of the correct answer when you got done. Which isn't so good, because that means it's going to be wrong. So we have a 1 here, and what would we have on top, David? You got it. And what's the unit that goes with the 2.08? Yes, indeed. And this is sulfur again. Can we, yes?
So, whatever unit you have on the website, that's what you have on the denominator for your fraction?
Absolutely correct. What he said was, whatever you have on the numerator on the left side, you're going to have on the denominator of the right side. So there's your left side numerator, and there's the next fraction as the denominator. Has to be the same. Otherwise, it won't cancel. See, this whole method is called unit cancellation. Okay? So, I've got unit canceled here, and the unit of measure that's left is grams, which is what we're supposed to find. So now we get our little calculator out, and I'm going to put in my 13. Oops, turn it on, it works better. So I put my 13 on top, and because that next number is on the top also, I put in my 2.08 after hitting the times. So I have 13 times 2.08. On my calculator, comes out to 27.04. Now, in this particular problem, we only have 2 sig figs. If you know about sig figs, you know my answer has too many numbers on it. I'd have to cut this off at 27. But we'll talk about sig figs tomorrow, and that's going to make more sense to you. But this is grams of sulfur, and we have just completed the problem. Not so bad, huh? You can whip these out pretty fast. And because you don't have to copy down the questions, You just have to give the given and find. That makes it go fast as well. So let's go ahead and do the second example, and then we'll go ahead with actually doing your first problem if we have time. Example, and this is B. And instead of going back to the textbook, I'm just going to go ahead and continue down here. Let's get this guy, extend this, and we're ready to rock and roll. Given for this problem is what? Who thinks they got it? Yeah.
41.7
Yes.
grams of calcium.
41.7 grams of calcium. Yep. And what's our find? You got that? Cubic centimeters of calcium. Good. I will have to go back to the book because there is an error on this paper, and you want to fix that. If you go to calcium, come on, calcium, here we go. You'll notice it's 1.55. It's wrong on the sheet. So on my sidebar over here, let's do the sidebar in green since we're, okay, 1.55 grams of calcium is equal to 1 cubic centimeter of calcium. Yes?
Is any number equal to 1
I'm sorry, what?
Is any number equal to 1?
Are you talking about this guy over here?
Yep.
Yes. That guy's always going to be a 1. Yep. On every single one of these problems. Yes, because the ratio is figuring out how many grams of any substance is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. That's what we're always looking for. So that was a very good conclusion. Not everybody comes to that right off the bat. So good thinking. Excellent thinking. All right, so what are we going to do here? We got Anthony. How about it? Let's make you part of the class right away, huh? So Anthony, what do we have for our starting of the problem? 41.7 grams of calcium over 1. Right on. And what's going to be on the bottom of our next fraction? Yes, indeed. Okay, we got grams of calcium over here. And we're going to circle the grams of calcium here and here. And now, you want to finish it off? What's the coefficient for grams of calcium and the equality that I have in my little sidebar box? 1.55. That's what's going to go on the bottom now. 1.55. And this is grams of calcium, and what would be on top? 1 centimeter cubed of calcium. You are right on. Okay. Good first day. Yes.
For the fraction on the left side, it's always over 1?
What?
The fraction on the left side. The 147.
Oh yes, it's always over 1 with no unit of measure on the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah. See, all we're doing by putting it over 1 is making it into a fraction, which makes it a little easier to see as a fraction. It wouldn't be wrong to leave out the 1 and just write 41.7. But I think that this is a little bit better to understand how the unit cancellation works.
Okay.
Okay? So both are correct though. And now all we have to do is get our calculator and run the numbers. Now, this is going to be a little different for some of you. You're not going to really understand why this happens, but 41.7 is on top. So I just plunked that into my calculator. Now this guy is on the bottom, and the way you tell your calculator that is hit the divide sign. Now you're going to have, in the future, 3 or 4 fractions, sometimes 5. It gets kind of crazy, doesn't it? Okay, whenever you do that, you just take your numbers one at a time. You either hit the divide or the multiply. and the calculator puts everything where it belongs. It's very, very nice that way. So I'm hitting divide. I'm going to put in the 1.55 and hit my equal sign, and what I get from this particular calculation on my little calculator here is 26.9. And that is what unit of measure? What is this?
Cubic.
Centimeters cubed. And what's the substance? Calcium. And that is our answer. Now I'm going to do one more for you really quick. There we go. This here, and hopefully we'll be able to knock this out pretty fast. Let's do cobalt. And can someone give me a density for cobalt?
8.9.
It is 8.9. Excellent. So we'll do this as a sidebar. 8.9 grams of cobalt is equal to 1 cubic centimeter of cobalt. Okay, there's my sidebar stuff. Now, this is going to be actually problem number 1. So, this is the first problem in your homework, and you'll be able to copy this onto the new sheet that you're going to print tonight. This paper right here, you all have it, but you're going to turn this in as part of your homework. And we'll do that at the end of the class. But right now, we're going to do the given and the find. And the given now for cobalt is, what did I say, 8.9? 8.9. Grams, yes, that will be grams per centimeter cubed. And on the sidebar I have the equality. What are we supposed to find? The mass, okay? And I'm sorry, I put that density over here, and that should not be the density. What's the find? Oh, given. I'm sorry. What's the given? 24. 24. Boy, I'm just not doing too well today. 24 cubic centimeters. Okay, great. How do we start? 24 centimeters cubed over 1. Okay, and this is cobalt. And so here we go. Hopefully all of this is going to make sense to you. I'm going to put a green line here so we don't mix these guys up. I got a little bit too close, so for goodness sakes, why don't I just move it down? There we go. Okay, and so now we've got on the bottom cubic centimeters of cobalt, and we circle that, and we look over here, and we see that the coefficient that goes with the cobalt is 1, and the coefficient that goes with the grams is 8.9, and that's grams of cobalt. We do the numbers, and we got 24 times 8.9, and that's 200. Yeah. Okay, so this is 213.6, and this is grams of cobalt, and we have completed that problem successfully. These guys, of course, canceled out, and there we go. You have seen how the homework goes on this paper.